Alright, hi, I'm here to tell you a little bit about this rig that I have it for sale. I'm selling each part individually. First up we have a 412 cabinet with vintage 30s in it. It's a carbon cabinet. Next up I have a George Lynch Gens-Benz G-Flex. It's got the ported front there, so it has a lot more bass response. I have a Mesa Boogie stereo simulcast 290, and that's 90 watts per side, and I'm using that to power both these cabinets here in stereo. And then next up I have the Rocktron Prophecy. It's the same exact thing as a Prophecy 2, same exact hardware. It's just the Prophecy 2 has different patches that come loaded with it, which you can download from Rocktron's site. So it's basically the same exact thing as a Rocktron Prophecy 2. Has all the same effects, everything. And this right here is a Yamaha YDP 2006 model. It's a digital parametric EQ. It has 40 different user patches, and as you can see, when I switch when I use my foot controller here, switch the patch on the Rocktron, it simultaneously switches it on the parametric EQ. And what that allows you to do is have a lot more flexibility over your sound. And the beauty of this thing is it's stereo or mono, so you can have 6 bands of parametric EQ in stereo, or you can have 12 bands in mono. And you know, a couple of different ways I run this, have ran it, is I'll run like the left side, I'll run my guitar into it, and then from the output of the 2000, the YDP here, I run that into the input of the Prophecy. So basically it's allowing me to change the tone of the guitar. It's very precise. And then I'll also run the right side in the effects loop of the Rocktron, so I can kind of change the sound after the distortion. You wouldn't really be able to tailor that without this unit. You can do a little bit of control in the Rocktron. Actually, the Rocktron has a lot more control than even an amp, but it only has 2 bands on it. So as you can see right here, it's got a kind of a fixed Q pre LFF, which means low frequency, but you know, and then you can only go up to 500 hertz on that, and that's it. So it's pretty good. And then this one here just has a band of like, you can change the bandwidth of it, and you can, you know, here's your frequency, and then here's your cut or boost. But that's it. Well, this thing has 12. This thing has 12 different bands in addition to those. So as you can imagine, it really allows you to maybe your pick attack is a little bit too loud. Well, you can cut, you know, in the 3 to 4K range before the distortion, and it'll minimize that without affecting everything else. So it really allows you to really shape your tone the way you want it to. So the other thing I have here is the Behringer FCB 1010 MIDI foot pedal, and it's great. And it's like easy to program. There's like a whole online community for it. You can find information to help you, you know, set it up. But what's cool about this is that it controls. You can have like one setup for your volume, and you can have one setup for your wah, and then, you know, what I do is I have 1 through 5 set up for different patches on my MIDI gear, and then I have the top rows set up for turning on different effects. So it's basically like having stomp boxes. You can have stomp boxes for each effect here. I'm just going to jam around on it, and I don't have like an elaborate mic set up here, so hopefully this sounds good. Reverb on it right now, and delay. It's real easy to just turn that off. I have it set up in the patch, but the nice thing about this is like it's digital, but it has a lot of front end parameters. Like you've got your gain and bass and treble and presence and master and volume and all that stuff like right on the front end. So if you're playing out live and you have a little bit too much treble, you can just roll it right back there and hit store. So I mean, it's really easy. You can't really get any easier to use than this. I've used a lot of different MIDI gear, and this thing is by far the easiest and like simplest to figure out and use. So I turn the delay and reverb off, and let's see. The other thing is, let's see, you've got a mix section in here for your different effects. So let's see, where is it? Should be compression in here somewhere. Here we go. All right, so I've got chorus on here now, and I can turn that off. I can do flanger. The other thing you can do is hit a compare button and see what the actual stored sounds like still. So that's the original sound that I stored there, and then this is the stuff I was working on, which is cool. Yeah, and then let's check out some rhythm sounds. So you can see that's really where this thing shines, is in the distortion sounds. The clean sounds are good, but I mean the distortion has just got game for days. And I mean with parametric EQ, there's 4 bands of parametric EQ you can use on this after the distortion. So there's 6 total, 2 to control the sound before the distortion, and then 4 after the distortion. But when you combine it with this thing right here, especially if you put this in the effects loop, I mean, you can get like any sound you want. I just have like a utilitarian kind of general distortion rhythm sound going. Yeah, I mean, it's you can do, obviously you can do Metallica, Megadeth, Pantera, I mean anything like that you can do very easily with this. You can get a lot of different sounds. I mean, it has its own kind of characteristic to it, which is, I guess, a Rocktron characteristic. But with the combination of the parametric EQ and also, even if you don't have this and you just use the Rocktron by itself, obviously you're getting a kind of a Mesa tone mixed in there as well. But you can definitely squeeze out some cool Marshall-y type sounds. Like here's one I found that kind of sounds like Van Halen a little bit. And the other thing I have here is I have a Crate SPA 200 solid state power amp. I don't have it hooked up right now, but this thing, it works good. I used it for a backup and never had to use it actually, because the Mesa obviously is like built solid. So speaking of which, I mean the gear looks beat up a little bit. I mean I probably played 150 shows just doing my local cover band. So I mean it's not like in it by any means like in pristine condition cosmetically, but everything is in great working condition. So yeah, happy bidding. Thanks.